And there he is, Tom Cousins. And there's Callum Singleton to break off. And of course, a race to 6. Pleased to have Mark Shepherd here as well. And how do you see this one going in, Mark? Is this just a straightforward day at the office for Tom Cousins?
Well, I think the group as a whole will be a straightforward day for the reasons you say. Only top 4 going through, so not too much jeopardy for the top players. Tricky first match though. Some 40 places between these two players in the rankings, but only really because Callum's only in his 2nd year as a pro, so still picking up points. Tom Cousins has obviously picked up tournament after tournament over the last couple of seasons. Looks pretty relaxed as ever. I don't think anyone ever loves the first match of a tournament. It always takes a little time to warm up. But one where it's not a straight knockout, it's much easier to relax into it.
Well, I spent a bit of time with Tom last night actually when he got here. And I was fully expecting him to walk in, take a table, have a practice. And he got himself a beer and sat down with me for a while, and then we went off and had something to eat. I said, "You're not practicing?" "No, I'm okay." I think he was looking at using some of these group matches as his practice, but there's an uncustomary miss from the number 1.
Just to illustrate your point there, where practice might have been a good thing. I mean, that's the thing though, isn't it? The fact that you've got these guaranteed 5 group matches, so you've got to get through, but you can warm yourself up into the tournament. The rankings do matter in the groups. Moving to a last 64 straight knockout draw, the groups get mixed up at that point, but what is consistent is that the top player in each group plays the 4th ranked player in a different group, so it's an advantage to win your group. Callum Singleton yet to win any silverware with Ultimate Pool, but he has been in one Pro Series final, or at least yet to win any silverware in the pro ranks. He won in the Challenger Series, which is how he got promoted into those pro ranks.
Uh-oh. Not where he wanted to put the cue ball there.
No, it's been a slightly edgy start by both players. Those are the shots that can sometimes catch you out when you've not played out on this match table. Just lost the cue ball.
Also first match of the entire weekend, and I know some of the players have travelled this morning to get here when I made that mistake early in my career where I thought I could just wander up the road, and all of a sudden you get a couple of problems on the motorway or anything like that, and you're coming in the last second and running straight to the table, and that's not great preparation for me.
No, again, I mean, I think helped by the fact it's this group format where it's less punishing, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's even if you think you're prepared, somehow rushing in at the last minute just knocks you out of sync. Great recovery pot there from Callum. To chase this finish a bit, but it's just about making the ball still.
Yeah, if he does get this, it'll be a tremendous finish from where he's landed with the cue ball, because he's barely been in position. He's pulled out some great pots. Such a good player as well, Callum.
Yeah, that year, a couple of seasons ago when he won the Challenger division, he was one of the fancied players, but still to win a tournament like that, or to win a series of tournaments like that was a difficult finish there, wasn't it? He was never really, the last 4 balls, he was never anywhere. And now an absolute practice position for Tom. Those 2 balls to the middle can be made into a plant. They're not absolutely dead set, but near enough. Playing with a shot clock here, not with a match clock for these group matches. We will be seeing the match clock in operation when we get to the knockout phase.
Tom there using all of his extension just to make doubly sure that he's picked his path.
May well be the most difficult match that either player has in this group. These will be 2 of the favourites in this group to go through. Whoever does win it, it's a nice confidence builder and gets you some good early points.
That yellow was knocked in with a bit of authority by Cousins. Now simple tracking with the cue ball to get on the yellow in the centre, and the black will be as straightforward as they come. You can't give this man 2 bites of the cherry.
No, you really can't. We say this time and time again, you just don't get many unforced errors from him.
Uh-oh.
You can see how annoyed he is from how quickly he's got down and played that shot.
Snooking himself again, is he?
It's almost just embarrassment. I mean, he's played the right shot, but you see from the speed he played it, he was just frustrated. That was an annoying shot as a player to get wrong positionally, because he had plenty of room down the left-hand side of the table. Just caught the red a bit thick, which is how he drifted towards the 8 ball.
There's an easy safety at the top for Tom, should he choose it.
Yeah, in any rule set, this is a bad position, but in international rules, you just never expect to see that 8 ball again if you're sitting in Callum's seat.
Well, it's a sort of shot to nothing. He did play to pot it, but he knew he was not leaving anything at all with the cue ball, and that's sort of a flailing arm. That's only going to be a loss of turn.
This is as frustrated as I've ever seen Callum out there.
Yeah, well, he's had a couple of chances. This 4-0 it's not all one-way traffic. Callum's had 2 good chances. So, you know, in Callum's mind, he'll be thinking this should be 2-all, and he should be right in the match.
And even though he's possibly not expecting to win this match, he's obviously not expected to win it now, but even at the beginning, but he's just not going to be happy with the way he started the tournament.
So he didn't have the right angle there, Tom, to get up for those 2 yellows, so he's going to play safe. Now, has he left a bit stuck out? I think he has.
Tricky, those shots. It's very delicate when you've got to get in behind a ball. You've got to hit a cushion still. Well, you can't see any, so he's going to have to come off one cushion.
He's going in near the middle. Ooh. Now you'll see Tom probably just use the cushion here, play it with the left-hand side, cue ball towards that middle, the other side of it, and off the rail, perfect. And 4 looks like becoming 5.
It's just exactly what you want, isn't it? First match of the tournament. Had to cue that ball. It was a difficult shot, but had to make sure he got hold of the cue ball. As if he needed this 8 ball any easier, dead straight on it. It's been an impressive start.
Drive for Dempsey. You won't want too many of them as the tournament unfolds. So it will be the man from Scotland to get the first taste of the match table.
Red balls in play.
Don't very often get a dry break out of Stevie, so Mark will be looking to take advantage. Not a bad layout, this. Can leave himself on the ball to the right centre and then come down the table. The awkward ball is obviously going to be the red just to the right of the 8 ball. Just about be able to get on it in a way that he can drop it into the left centre and then hold for the ball at the bottom of the table. quite as played. Trying to force through there. If the ball does pop to the left centre, I thought he could maybe just have run that ball off the one cushion and out for it. He's trying to force down to the bottom of the table. It's going to be hard to continue from here. And having potted so many of the loose balls, not an easy place to play a safety from. Just trying to get the cue ball tight over on the left-hand side rail, such that he didn't leave Stevie a shot at the ball to the right centre. Saying in our last match, this may well be one of the more difficult matches that the players face in this group stage.
Well, of course, this group is Group 16. It's Steve and Dempsey playing Mark Fleming. Of course, in this group also John McAllister. Wow. Brian Halcrow, Michael Gibney and John Bibby. McAllister, obviously, one of the top players. So both of these two fellows are going to have to do battle with him as well. Halcrow, of course, from Newcastle in the northeast of England. Another one of the ultimate pool professionals. So it's, you think Gibney and Bibby are going to have their work cut out trying to oust one of these four players in this group.
Yeah, and that's going to be the dynamic a lot this weekend with the qualifiers. Both experienced players though. Mike Gibney plays a lot with Craig Waddingham, so he'll know what it's like playing a top player on a regular basis. So neither player able to get the job done at the first visit in this frame, but Stevie Dempsey with the tactical upper hand. Mark can see enough to pot this ball straight, but he's looking at whether he can play red off yellow. Oh, that's a great shot. Oh, how's his luck? Oh, I think he's okay. Well, that was a fantastic shot from where he was, and he'll be happy with where the cue ball's landed up.
Ooh. Didn't want that little kiss.
So annoying. When you play a great shot like that, you just want to get the finish completed. Instead of that, he's undone all the hard work.
Just seeing if he can get off the bottom rail now, go into the 8 ball. He's going to try and shunt it up the tail and off the yellow into the middle bag. Oh, he's hung it. Just caught it a little thick there. I think he wanted a thinner contact or straight behind it. We'll have another look. Bit more legs.
Well, that was almost an early contender for our clearance of the weekend. He played a great shot, a couple back to get into that position. Almost found a way. As it is though, Stevie Dempsey invited back to the table with a much more straightforward pattern this time. Just wants to draw the cue ball back slightly from the ball up to the top left for the ball to the opposite centre.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect the hammer to miss these.
Choice of middle or corner here. Corner's his choice.
Ireland's top player. He's going to finish off with this last yellow and a very simple black ball, and it's going to be 1-0 to the man from the Emerald Isle.
Ireland taking an early lead against Scotland.
You know, forget the pool. I mean, they could be on TV doing comedy sketches, I'm telling you.
What a season they've both had as well. Although they can appear quite light-hearted off the table, they both really mean business when they're in a tournament.
A formidable partnership in the pairs as well. A nice split there for Fleming.
Important frame this for Mark, just get things back on level terms.
Yellow balls in play.
Quite proper races, these matches. Sometimes when you have a group section of a tournament you end up having shorter races, but first to 6, although they go very quickly at a pro level, you feel like you've got time to get into it still.
Yeah, you get things like, let's say for instance, the mini-series which is coming up in October. That is the over 50s, but they play in the same for the groups format, but that's a race to 3. So you have a bad break at that, you're immediately in trouble.
Yeah, that's a tough format, isn't it? Everyone generally enjoys the groups because it guarantees them a few matches, but races to 3 at any kind of proper level over in the blink of an eye. To play a couple of delicate shots in this frame, navigated it well.
I think it's got a slight angle there, you can just punch the cue ball out. It's making this slightly harder now. Still got to cut down the cushion. The thing here, he doesn't really want to contact that red on the rail. If he could snip it in with a load of right hand side, because you're going to screw into it. And he's played that very well indeed. That was the thing, he didn't really want to contact that red because you could land all sorts of awkward places. But now, another good reply from Fleming. And both players firing on all cylinders at the start. Well, he could pop this into the bottom left hand corner and just bit of screwing right hand side, cue ball off the side rail and just bump it past the other yellow and near to those 2 reds. You'd be on the other yellow in the middle, and that one will be available in the other middle pocket. Like that.
It was a good choice of shot, because if he doesn't land nicely on it, he can just play for the straight double, and if he happened to get a good chance, well, that was pretty perfect. There's never zero risk when you play it like that, because he could have punted the yellow too far, but he controlled it well.
Yeah, played it very nicely. Just deciding if he wants to just stop the white dead and cut the black down the rail, or does he want to screw it back and have it a bit more straight. This is the correct option, because if you didn't screw back too far, you could leave yourself bridging over those 2 reds. So I think this is just a sensible way to do this. All Mark's got to do is make sure of the pot. Cue balls, you've got to worry about that. Nice and gently down the rail. Well, he just overcut that one, didn't he? But what's he left Dempsey?
Decided to go firm. Could have been a case for just trickling it down.
Yeah,
to be
just
positive.
caught the thin edge, just too thin. Played it with a little bit of right hand side as he cued it, and I think that just that tiny bit of spin on that cue ball just threw it a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you say that sort of helping side when you put it down a rail, but you can end up coming off line as he did.
Well, a lot of players, and I used to be one of them, I used to like to cuts down rail. I'd always play a bit of side on, because it sort of it lends itself to the little bit of spin to hug the ball down the rail. And he did what I would have played probably the same shot, but he didn't want to catch it so thin. Dempsey, that's all he could do was play this snooker, and Fleming's going to attempt to swerve round. Wondered if he could go off the top rail with a bit of right hand side and check it back, but well, let's have a look at this.
Oh, great shot.
Oh, fantastic shot from Mark Fleming. And there's one for the highlight reel.
Let's have another look at this.
There's how to play a masse. Very well done indeed.
Can he pull out another one?
Trust if he can play off the yellow. Can he play the yellow, black off the yellow and into the top left-hand corner? That would be a ridiculous shot, but he tried to get in the middle. It was never ever could go in the middle because as soon as it made contact, it was always going to go forwards, the black ball, and not straight to the left. I thought his only shot there was to play thin off the yellow before that and try and get the black into the top corner, which again is like a 1 in 75 he'd get that.
Yeah, the other shot was the one you talked about. It looked like if he'd have played a different positional shot, he could possibly have left a treble. It was tight to get past the second yellow, but either way, it's gone missing.
Well, this is Dempsey's second chance to win this match. We certainly won't want to be having to rely on the third. There's 3 yellows. I mean, do you play the safety? Do you hit the yellow at the middle one of those 3 and leave the cue ball stuck between the other 2?
Well, it's in such a good spot to play it. Surely that has to be in his consideration, doesn't it?
Well, it's a very it's a hard out for me. See, the trouble is you can maybe pot that yellow into the bottom left-hand corner, and kick in the other 2, but you're not guaranteed to where to go. You could put them both on the cushion. I think the safety, and I'm not one for being much safety. I think hit this middle one and leave the cue ball stuck between the other 2.
The fact it was such a guaranteed snooker.
Do you know what I'm going to say, Mark? I don't know why he potted that yellow into the middle. He could have left that there. That would be in the way now.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
hitting the black.
Yeah, and also, I think positionally he's in a slightly worse spot anyway. I mean, the good thing from Stevie's perspective is that even if Mark hits this black fairly firmly, he's not super likely to pot it. Not as easy a starter as he could have been left.
No, this is, at the position we are in the match, this is awkward.
Could play another safety. Not as appealing this time though. There's a reasonably big area you could play a snooker, but there's much more risk of the 8-ball getting potted if you were to turn the table over. No, playing it well. That was the only ball he could really go after. Just had to commit to it.
Yeah, nice shot there from Dempsey. Yellow at the bottom of the table for me would be the next shot. If you can get the cue ball up into the middle of the table now, that'd be his ideal position. That's fine. And that's perfect. He's left himself a little angle now. He could just soft screw this into the bottom corner, get the cue ball right behind the black. And this black ball for a 6-4 win for Stevie Dempsey.
And that's a great performance, you've got to say, from Stevie. That wasn't an easy match. Mark played his part in every part of that and seemed to be just hanging on and hanging on.
It's a title winner opposite Christophe Lambert in this one. Josh Kane was last seen in this arena, taking down the last man standing. But it was an event in which he didn't really have to do a huge amount of what we'll call graft. He was perched quite nicely on his chair for a long section of that weekend before sweeping in at the end and capturing all the gold. But can't do that in this event. It's almost the exact opposite. You've got to work really hard to get through to the final in this one. Got to play a lot of pool, got to play well for an extended period of time, and that's not always too easy to do. As you see Christophe at the table early in frame number 1. That patented break has given him a good chance. And interesting already, I find this fascinating watching Christophe now. You can really spot the pace that he plays at around the table now. It's night and day from even a year ago, let alone 2.
It's always been the way. For some reason, the French players always seem to have had that very methodical style. I remember years ago watching players like Yannick Beaufils at the World Championships. It was almost turning into a comedy where he wouldn't play any shot until you hit the 30-second mark. And it was perfectly entitled to. Those were the rules. He wasn't, he's a lovely guy as is Christophe. There's no sort of gamesmanship element, but it just seemed like that was the way the game was played in France. But as you say, Christophe has had to play in these faster formats, and like so many players in that position, he almost looks the better for it when he plays a bit quicker.
Yeah, agreed. I remember seeing him in the shootout in the Ultimate Pool USA event a couple of months ago. It was the one in Louisiana, and I believe that was Christophe's first taste of like a shootout event. And I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was like he was in fast forward. It was almost like he'd really G'd himself up to play as quickly as he humanly could. And, Christophe's a good enough player to almost get away with doing that, if you like.
Yeah, I think that's the funny thing about Christophe. He's quite deceptive. You can watch him play and he can look quite slow and he can look quite methodical. And you can lose track of what a good attacking player he is and how quickly he can play if he has to. I mean, he's a maximum break snooker player. He's been around. He's done everything in the game. He is a phenomenal potter. It's just you sometimes don't quite realise that when you just watch him play a frame or two. It's a kind of different skill sequencing the matches together. Wow, yet again, cue ball just flying off the front ball. I mean, if that was a pot that you were going for, you'd be missing the pot by a long way, because you see how far he's come across that front ball. So Christophe, the luxury of ball in hand, wants to go after the reds, of course, because there's a red over the bottom pocket. Looking at whether he can play red off yellow into the middle pocket here. Doesn't have to go for these balls first, but because this red that he's currently eyeing up is the most difficult one, he was kind of tempted to go for it. He's possibly wisely concluded, though, that the very last thing you'd want to do would be to miss it and leave an open table.
Oh, that's disastrous. Well, this is now a key frame at 4-3. There's some mileage in this. Christophe almost angrily down on the next shot. Played within 8 seconds. Oh, wow, this is a lot going on here. You can see what he's just lined up. He's seen that quickly. Watch this yellow.
Well, he's ended up playing the shot that he was eyeing up earlier on, but the difference now is that in the meantime he's knocked another ball safe. Needs an angle.
I thought he was looking at cannoning that yellow all the way into the bottom left of the table. I thought that was why he was lining it up, but actually he's happy just to leave it as a double.
Well, it's been a bizarre frame. He played the first shot so slowly he almost time fouled, and then since then he's been playing at a blistering pace.
Well, nails it. Angry pull from Christophe Lambert.
Oh, what a strange visit. Looked like he could have had quite a simple clearance when he had ball in hand at the beginning. Kind of rushed into a shot which then made life hard, and then potted his way back out of trouble again. And the 8 ball safely down. Wow, don't know what you call it. Angry, quick, impatient. Got the job done though. So we're going to see the exact same routine as always. I don't think Christophe's suddenly going to rush into this break. So just settling himself as he always does. Gets down on the exact same spot at the table. Well, it's gone through the whole pre-break routine, but hasn't managed to deliver the break that he needs.
Didn't really do a lot wrong with it, did he? Look at the explosion at the pack. What's he left, though?
You wouldn't quite go as far as saying this deciding frame is for Christophe's tournament life, but it's one that would dramatically change the rest of his weekend. If he can just nick a win here, he leaves himself in great shape to qualify. If he does lose, he's going to have to battle it the hard way. Nervous moment there. Josh just holds out his hand, just wants the cue ball to pull up. He's got a couple of balls on the left-hand side of the table, aren't in great spots.
Better now.
Left a double on his last ball in the last frame. Is he going to leave that yellow that's below the left centre as a double, or is he going to try to find some route into it? If he does leave it as a double, it's a much easier double than the one he missed in the last frame. Well, decides to move it out. How was his luck? It looks very tight. I don't think that yellow goes past the red. Not sure if that shot was quite as played. May have been trying to catch the cushion first. Well, you see from that angle that ball doesn't go at all. Could have a second bite of the cherry and go into it again, or could just take his medicine and go for the double. Hasn't got the angle this time. If he'd finished high on the ball to the left centre, he could have tried to play a developing cannon. So it looks like it's going to have to be the double. He hasn't got any route into it from where he currently is. Just looking at where he wants to bring the cue ball back. Just to come down the table just below the 8 ball. It's very close to having a double kiss angle here. Could have done with the cue ball going a couple of inches higher up the table. I think the fact it's just off the cushion means he can just manufacture this. Hasn't got to do too much with the white. Oh, great shot. Pressure shot that.
Yeah, match-winning shot from Josh Kane. He knew it as well. Immediate little puff of the cheeks once that one went down. Terrific matchup between two great players. And Christophe Lambert has lost his opening 2 matches of his 5. He now needs to run a little bit of a gauntlet. Needs to win certainly 2, maybe all 3 of his remaining fixtures to stay alive in this European Open. Jack Whelan and John Rowe about to square off here in the 4th match of the group. Stephen Jameson alongside you, and in my glorious company is the one and only Tony Holgate. Well, you've been making faces and gestures and all sorts of actions a little bit in response to the presence of Sonny Bale. I know he's from, I do this with Simon all the time, your neck of the woods. He's probably about 100 miles away from you, but you're all the same down there in that there southwest. But an interesting group, Tony.
Yeah, he's just round the corner, like you say, 112 miles away. Sonny Bale, of course, the nephew of Oli Bale.
Yes.
And I was just watching him out there playing Alvarez, and he just missed a simple red, actually, to win that match 6-1. So he is 5-2 and still batting. But he was looking quite impressive out there, I have to say. I took out a couple of really good finishes.
Can tell you, he has just won. That's a confirmed result now. 6-2, that's come through. So Sonny Bale in the win column in his first match of the tournament.
Well, John Rowe at the table. I was just chatting to him a few minutes ago as well, and he's in fine fettle.
Usually is the ringer.
Yep, nice fella.
Usually until he plays a bit of pool, actually. Yeah. But he's taken these yellows out pretty nicely in his first visit to the table. Just got a little shot to judge here. One that he's judged pretty well. Wants a little bit of a bounce. Yeah, he's got it nice.
Yeah, he'll take that. Not a gimme, but you wouldn't expect John to miss this.
Well, I think some people, John included, would suggest that he did.
Well,
that sort of give and take, isn't it, with with that. And it's something that we've talked about a lot with Chris Melling over the years as John Rowe breaks dry, is, you know, how much is Chris giving away by participating in all these different sports, essentially. You know, if he dedicated himself to one of them, could he be the best in the world at it?
Yeah, there's a lot of travelling involved, of course, and that does take its toll. You know, it's not like just, you know, you get on the train from, say, I don't know, Nottinghamshire just to come over to Staffordshire, you know, and you prepare yourself well and make sure you don't miss your train and all these sort of things.
Absolutely. Who'd do that?
I don't know. Oh.
He didn't want to make both of those, I'm almost certain.
Can he play the cannon? Yes, he can. And he's played that absolutely brilliantly. Perfect by Jack Whelan. Well, this is as simple as finish as you'll ever leave yourself. Jack knocks him away inside 20 seconds, and now that is 3-1.
Deadly, isn't it?
To the Wonder. And that is not what John Rowe wanted to see. That cue ball was going straight into the corner, then it got bumped away, and then the red came back and said, no, no, you're not. You're definitely going in there.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it?
And look at these reds.
Red ball's in play.
Oh, wow. Wow. You just don't see many of those. A little bit speechless.
Well, about to wrap up.
Yeah, you've got half an hour and a bit of lunch, I know
Odds
you.
well.
Yeah. Absolutely crippled your plans.
And well, I was just ordering it there, the starters and all sorts. And but Jack's got other ideas. He wants to stay there a bit longer and play John Rowe.
Just blown away by that miss.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it, would you?
Yeah, really strange one. John still has a little bit of work to do, and it concerns that yellow on the left side rail. Chunter, chunter, chunter.
He's looking at that double. See, I'd rather pot those two balls and just get behind it, get right behind it and play it slow up the rail into the top corner. You stop the cue ball dead, you got the black in the middle.
He has already banged in a big double in a very, very similar position to this in this match.
They want to come far enough, should I say, so he could just roll the double. I think he has.
In goes another one. He's got his doubles lined up as John today couple of real clutch shots. Oh, and for the second time in this match, John Rowe rattles an 8-ball in, but he would love to get this one done now. Still has one more chance. It is a belting break. Oh, and well, can he get through to the yellow?
He can't. I think he can just get up there.
I thought for a second he was going to leave himself with nothing, but I think he can get through to the yellow at the top of the table, and this finish is very much on. Quarter ball roll further south, and he was nowhere. It's well judged. Real purpose in the stride of Jack Whelan, who knows that this is his chance to win the game and get it done, and there won't be a chance for a similar mistake that he made at 5-2. I'm pretty sure he didn't want to be on the rail here, because I think he wanted to be bringing the cue ball back, if anything.
Want to be a little bit further down and a couple of inches off the rail. That would have been perfect. Now I think he placed a cut into the corner and uses that red just to hold the cue ball for the other yellow into the centre.
Goal wobbles in. Didn't get the ideal contact on the red, and he's reaching.
Is it thinner than he'd have liked there? It's been a funny old match, this. It's been some top quality finishing.
Yeah, but it's swung on a complete moment, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of big shots now required for Jack. Oh, that was a better shot than it looked. Didn't have all the pocket.
No, that's quite a cool shot. Stayed very still and made sure of that, because like you say, that was only half a pocket he had. He's made sure he's brought the cue ball back far enough for the yellow over the bag.
Oh, how do you like these?
Not very much. That's nasty.
I think he had to turn that in, you know, a little bit.
The thing is, though, Chamos, he's rolling this yellow up in that top corner. The cue ball's going to slide past it. He might even slide into that red, and he could snook himself as well. He's gone for the middle. Well, it's a great pot. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Not the red that he's cannoned has come in the way of the 8-ball.
Well, well, well. John there rubbing his towel on his hands. He's anticipating having a chance.
Will he get it, or can Jack Whelan produce something miraculous? He gave it a go, but not to be, and John Rowe will get the chance to run the last 4 racks of this match and steal it away. Last time he was at the table, he looked so confident and authoritative. Did the ringer, and he just needs to be exactly the same again. And this one's over.
He'll take that. Simple, straightforward cut into the corner. Cue ball comes back across the table.
Middle pocket, middle pocket.
No.
Oh, John.
He's angled himself. That's unbelievable.
What drama at 5-5.
Imagine if this was a knockout match.
I mean, that's an incredible error, that, from John. It really is. This is a very difficult hit. He's got his extension, which is useful. Can he pull this out the fire? Has he left it? He's left it.
Well,
oh, what a let-off for Jack Whelan. What an extraordinary finish. A brilliant match. You just never knew which way that was going. And Jack Whelan and John Rowe, you get the feeling they'll both walk out of that arena absolutely devastated. But it's Jack Whelan who's got the win, and he goes atop group number 13. What a brilliant match that was. And we've still got plenty more on the way for you.
Phil Harrison. Been around a long, long time. Both these gentlemen from Cambridgeshire and good mates. Luke sort of following in Phil's footsteps, if you like. You have Luke and Dom Cooney, they sort of, you know, hold Phil in high esteem with all he's achieved in the game. Luke Gilbert, of course, has won a pro event now. Fantastic, talented player. I think Phil's got something wrong with one of his feet, but it looks like he's got a special shoe on there.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
So he didn't look like he was limping when he came to the tile. I don't know what he's done. But have to inquire. But yeah, we are. Look, he must have dropped something on a foot or broke a metatarsal or something. But
well, you know what a pool's like. You pick up a lot of those kind of sports injuries.
yeah, unless it's a new fashion from the farmer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be ideal actually, because 3-day tournament this, so you could be on your feet for quite a long time if you're making head row. Luke Gilbert, one of the best up-and-coming players, as you say, now got a pro title as well, beating Declan Brennan earlier in the season.
Well, he might help Phil out here by dishing these up, because that'll keep him sat in his seat, resting his foot.
On paper, this is a group that both of these two are kind of fancy having reasonably smooth progress through. They're currently sitting at 2 and 3 in the standings. Phil Harrison's beaten Peter Maloney 6-3 to get things underway. Then Luke Gilbert beat Shaun Sharkey 6-4. So just one more win on the board would get them pretty close to those qualifying spots. Making this look pretty easy so far.
Nicely done from Gilbert. Harrison to break us off, frame number 6 in a race to 6. And he'll like the look of those.
You won't know it from his body language, because he rarely looks like he likes the look of the table, but I think deep down he'll be happy with it.
He's a kidder. Is Phil.
Extension call.
30-second shot clock throughout the match, with 1 15-second extension per frame, which is what he's just called for.
Red balls in play.
He was always playing that shot first. The time was just spent looking at the pattern after that. Tells you that the lower of the two reds at the top of the table get passes to the left centre, which is helpful because it's a natural pocket for that red, and it's also an easier positional shot than the red that's to the left of the cue ball on the break line be able to hold for.
Yeah, these are pretty much done. He plays the red into the centre. It's the red at the top. He's just got to make sure he gets a nice little angle, and if you can pop that one away and get in the middle of the table, the frame's done. Well, that wasn't popped in, it was splattered in, but the same result.
Yeah, I didn't think he necessarily needed to do that, but it was a good chance to. He was guaranteed to be on the next ball. It's just made things a little bit easier now.
We get a few tight matches, aren't we, out here now? After Tom Cousins came on initially and won 6-0, there's been some... Well, we've had a couple of 6-5s now, and there was a 6-4.
Yeah, I mean, they've all been matches where you would have struggled to call a winner at the beginning, but still, that's not to say that it's necessarily going to turn into a tight one. It just happens to have worked out like that. Could play these balls in either order, but it's an easier positional shot onto the 8 ball, leaving the one to the middle last. And that is close to perfect, just a natural angle to drift over to the left-hand side. This has been very good from both players. 6 frames played, still nothing to choose between them.
Yeah. I bet they bankrupt the league on trophies. Especially those ones that give you like a trophy for every time you have an 8-ball finish.
He's done some good venues in Cambridge years ago. He used to play at the Cambridge Snooker Centre. Where back in those days, Neil Robertson was based there. They had some good players. That's sadly closed down now, but there's still a couple of venues in the town. Well, obviously, it goes without saying he's got to get this one, because he can't afford to let his opponent back to the table for the frame he needs. It's not the best position. He's going to have to go after the double here. Oh, that's a good shot.
Yeah, great double there from Gilbert. Play the plant now, I suggest, into the right-hand centre. There's his mate Dom Cooney behind as well, looking on.
Yeah, always very supportive, and obviously all 3 of them know each other. Team Blessed, as they call themselves. We haven't seen too much of that. He's just potted all the balls clean today. Haven't yet seen any lucky flicks. Well, you feel this match probably does deserve a deciding frame. Neither of them has done a whole lot wrong.
No, he's guided himself nicely around his finishes, Gilbert. And this is going to make it 5 apiece, and we're going to have a 1-frame decider.
Oh, that's a pretty good break.
Well, if that plants straight with those yellows, then he's got a great opportunity here. As long as he can play that plant without the second yellow just nudging into the reds and blocking. I'm not sure if he can. Looking at it, I think there's a slight angle. The second yellow might just rest on the 2 reds, which would mess it up a bit for him.
It's looking pretty close in the
well,
group.
on the other side of the coin, Mike, you could pot the red into the top left-hand corner and drag the cue ball and nudge the other 2 apart at the top, and then they're available. So it's which shot you fancy. Well, he's taking the reds. And he certainly didn't want to play that shot.
No, not for the first time in this match. Just ending up rushing a shot and not playing a great one as a result. So many reds lying around the table. This was one of the worst spots he could have found.
Well, he's having to try and hide the cue ball, try and contain Harrison. Only
Only time will tell whether it plays to his advantage. Sometimes letting your opponent in to help you tidy the table up isn't a bad thing. It's not like Phil's in a position where he's well placed to go for an immediate clearance. It's currently fairly tight in the Group 8 league table. Shaun Sharkey is 5-2 up on Neil Toms, so if he gets one more frame he'll move to 1 win. That would leave 4 players all tied with a single win. Obviously one of these two is going to go ahead, so it looks likely that whoever wins this will go top after this match. Right now, this is a moment for our entertainment, not the players looking at the league tables. They're not really going to be too concerned until it gets a bit closer to the business end. Oh, it's potted
well.
red.
Well, that was a safety shot he played there. He's got to put that red over the bag and leave Phil not very much. Instead, he's knocked the red in. Played a good controlled safety there, though, Luke Gilbert. A sort of dejected look at from Phil Harrison, because he knows he's pretty much, if he can't pot one out of snooker, he's going to give his younger buddy a little chance of winning a match.
Yeah, you always felt like it wasn't going to be long before the Team Bless nickname came into play. It was a fluked ball which looked like it wasn't necessarily going to make much difference, but it has let him play a better safety than the previous one, so it may turn out to be decisive. What can Phil make from here? Well, he's gone for the pot to the middle and he's got it. So first bit navigated, but still a few problems.
One big one in particular, which is the yellow at the top of the table, stuck behind the red. He wanted to nudge it a bit further than that.
Yeah, right idea and right line. He just needed to get a bit more pace into it. Tricky now because he hasn't got another ball up that end to use to get onto it, and even though there's a bit of space around it, there isn't really a good spot to pot it from. This is one of those situations he's just kind of forced to attack. Well, up until then he was forced to attack. Now he has got a chance if he wants to play a safety, because he can play the yellow that's next to the 8 ball and run the white in tight behind the 8.
Or he can cut the yellow in at the bottom corner and then kick that red and yellow apart at the top.
Yeah, looks like that is what he's doing. Well, the first bit, what's he doing with the yellow?
He's played to get on it. Has he come far enough? I think he might have done, you know. Well, you never can tell with Phil, because he'll pull that face and make that gesture and he can probably see it.
He could potentially make it by applying side, but he doesn't actually really want to play it with left-hand side, because he then brings the red into play.
Well, he ran out of time there, or was running out of time, and he tried to play that shot and screw into the rail and kick the red away, and it's not worked out at all.
Yeah, he had all the options. The shot, a couple of shots ago, he could have played a safety or he could have played a cannon. Decided to play position, which wasn't necessarily the wrong shot, but just came up an inch or two short.
Well, he tried to play a double and yellow off the red into the corner, and obviously hasn't made it. And now Luke Gilbert with an absolutely great chance here of nicking the match by the odd frame.
want for a better chance than this one. You're never sure you're going to get a good chance in the decider.
Well, it looks like Gilbert's going to be the man that's going to stay unbeaten, but I think it's fair to say it shouldn't be too much trouble for Phil Harrison to navigate himself into the last 64. Obviously, we'll find out all a little bit later on, but this black for Luke Gilbert.
Good performance from Luke Gilbert. Good performance in truth from Phil Harrison as well. There was never going to be very much between them. Not quite hitting the heights from how he ended up last season, but he has had a win over in the States. Won the shootout at the last Ultimate Pool USA event.
Yeah, in Kansas. Yeah, he's played really well in that. I did watch that. Stayed up late, well past my bedtime. Chris Day's been playing very well this season. He's knocking on the door. He's been very close.
Yeah, he's one of those players that sometimes slightly slips under the radar, but he's had 3 quarterfinals and a semi-final already. That semi-final was the last event, Pro Series 6 in Blackpool a couple of months ago. As a result of that, provisionally up to number 25 in the rankings. 10-place improvement on where he was last year, and still trending in the right direction. Chris Day, of course, also reached the World Championship final a couple of years back, so he's been making a name for himself on the big stage. Jordan's generally more about your quick-fire shootout than your longer-form group match, but at the same time, and particularly if he's been playing a bit of American pool as well, not the worst thing just to have a few matches to get himself back into this. So pretty much the start we're expecting. Getting through these balls in no time at all.
And it's Shepherd who flies the last couple of balls in. And he does not move when he gets in full flow.
Yeah, it's quite something to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't hang about, the old Welsh wizard, bless him.
Big break as ever from Jordan. Generally the yellows have come out pretty well, but there's just the one over the left-hand side that's a bit obstructed.
Well, it will go into the centre, and it obviously goes into the top left-hand corner as well, so it's just how Jordan feels when he gets down to that bottom of the table. He will have a plan for it in his mind. Jordan, one of the many players you'd normally use your extension right at the start of the frame to map out your finish and then play. That's what a lot of the pros do. He seems to have just potted the first yellow and then he'll think about the rest of it later. So, and there you see he's using his extension out because this is the important bit now where he decides his pattern.
This is Jordan's first match of the tournament. He did have a match scheduled, but because of that last minute pull out and only 5 players in this group, just went through a 6-0 winner by default in that one. Chris Day did have to play 6-2 against Niall Clancy. It was his first match.
He's just made this a lot more tricky there, is Jordan. Now he's going to have to play this into the middle off the yellow that's near there. But then it's again he's going to be on nothing. I think maybe played a cross double actually. Looking at it again, played a cross double back into the centre, bring the keyboard down the table. Could he play the double into the middle? And it would have to be a fairly firm hit.
Well, we could play the yellow that is nearest long, I suppose. It's not an attractive option either way, though, is it?
He went for the double and he's miscued it. Just nervously looking at his tip to see if he's taken a chunk out of it.
Yeah, that's what you always worry about when you miscue. That wasn't a particularly powerful miscue, though. I don't think you should have done too much damage.
You only want a tiny bit to come out of that tip, and then all of a sudden an important shot later when you're playing beside it, somebody throws something else onto it and you've cost you a match.
Whoever wins this match will be guaranteed to have qualified, so we'll have 3 matches to come that will be dead rubbers from a qualification perspective, although may still impact the ranking, of course, the league table. In the event that he had done any damage to his cue, at least that would mean he did have time to sort it out. What he has done damage to is his position in this frame, because he's gone from having a good chance to being a strong second favourite. See Chris happy just to bide his time, just tidy the table up a bit, keep playing these containing shots. Much he can do here. I mean, he hasn't hit that, but even if he did, it's not going to leave things great. So the only difficult red really is the one on the right hand side rail near the yellow. Could use ball in hand to go straight after that. Goes after the other semi-difficult one.
Well, it's just a case of knocking in these 2 reds at the table. Deal with the 4 down at the bottom. There's not much to do with the cue ball, like you say. It's just getting on the red just beneath that yellow. He just wants to leave himself a little cut. He's going to play it next. In an ideal world, if he can get onto the red that's just next to the black ball as well from this ball, and then the 2 last reds over the bag, simple stuff then. It looks pretty good.
Can just play a delicate cannon onto the
just knock it another inch further nearer the rail. You haven't. I'm quite surprised. I would have thought he'd have played the red that's next to the black. I mean, it makes no difference.
Well, yeah, it makes no difference until you slip out of position.
Until he falls short here.
Well, that's fine. This is turned into an academic discussion, as it was always likely to. It's just a case of playing the percentages.
It just made it harder for me. You know, you give yourself a chance to miss it, where I don't think you had any chance missing the other way.
So Jordan's mistake there has proved costly. 2-1 to Chris Day.
Stands very upright as he breaks, is Chris. That's a really good break, but where's the cue ball? It's gone.
It looked like he was just going to pull up in time. Just carried on running. Bit unlucky the way it ended up there, but he was tracking towards the pocket.
This could be a quick frame.
This is exactly what Jordan needed. Had to hope for something from Chris's break. Needs to take advantage and then capitalise off his own break. Make a fight of this match.
In between the devil and the deep blue sea there.
Oh, that's a good shot. If this yellow passes bottom right, that's turned out really well.
Well, had to play the double in the end.
So, first chance for Chris Day to get this group wrapped up, which is possibly not something he was expecting to be able to be in a position to do by 4:25 on the first day of play. We've seen that pocket be quite generous. A couple of brushed the cushion on the way there, but that was well wide. Surely now the frame away to Jordan.
Shake of the head there from Shepherd. Came up a bit short, got the thin cut now.
Well, that was a frame that Chris could well have won. That would have got him over the winning line. Jordan kind of falls over the line. Cue ball going towards the same corner pocket that cost him last time.
And another very good split as well.
When you see Jordan in full flight, you wonder how he ever loses a match. Right now, it would seem that the consistency on the break is one of the chinks in the armour. Obviously, you can't read much into a couple of breaks in this match, but as you say, it was perhaps a factor at the World Championships. Had a decent chance in the last frame. Chris really can't ask for a much better one than this. Ball below the 8 ball. It's pretty tight bottom left, but plenty of space for it bottom right. Needs to play the ball that he's about to play to the bottom right first, obviously, to clear that pocket out. Didn't want to be hampered. It's not the end of the world for the pot, that's easy enough, but it just slightly limits him where he's going after this. From this angle, you'd think this was a fairly straightforward drop into the centre, but actually a reasonably acute angle if he plays that ball to the right middle.
Yeah, I think he's going to leave himself, might be leaving himself a little too thin. He's having to play a little screw shot here. Makes this pot a heck of, well, heck more harder, and he played it very well indeed.
Yeah, it made it look very easy.
Yeah, it's easy to miss those if you play them at pace and catch the jaw. But this time, no mistake from Chris Day. This black for victory.
This has been a solid professional performance from Chris Day. This could have been a difficult match, not necessarily one that was consequential in terms of the outcome of the group. Chris Day will be delighted to have got this group qualification wrapped up already. He goes 2 from 2 in the group and moves to the top of the table.
We have got a fair few representatives from on the continent, whether it be Malta or France or Ireland. Ronan with a very, very impressive opening break. He almost looks surprised about it himself. Although that poker face of his doesn't usually give too much away. You can be very, very pleased with this break, no matter who you are, let alone someone who historically has been known for having a, well, for it being the weakest part of his all-round excellent game. That was a hell of a break, great split, and a great chance to get going for the 2-time world champion.
You kind of run out of good things to say about him, don't you? I mean, when he won the first of those 2 world titles a couple of years ago, everyone was saying fitting for the career he's had, great performance. Fast forward a couple of years, I mean, he, to be blunt, was not one of the favourites coming into this year's event. You could have seen him having a decent run, but even having won the previous title, I don't think you'd really have said he was very likely to add a second one. And he'll be pleased with the manner he did it as well, because it wasn't like the draw sort of opened up. I mean, in the final, he played a level that we've barely seen in a final before. It was incredible.
I mean, it was remarkable. I think if you were, you know, truly quite miserable as a person, you could probably make an argument that when Ronan won it in Killarney and Ireland, there was an absence of what some might consider the top players and all the rest of it. It was inverted commas. I need to stress that because I don't agree with it. But an easier year, as if that diminishes the achievement somewhat. But well, those people aren't talking anymore, because this year was as loaded a year as we've seen in a long, long time. I mean, I know you've been covering the World Championship for years and years, Mark, and you're quite right. The actual final itself, and we have to put in our obligatory apology here for Carl Sutton, because we do sadly have to keep talking about it, which of course is quite sore for him, but is one of the best standard of finals ever. It was extraordinary. I think 17 out of... I'm misremembering the numbers. I think only 2 weren't off the break. It was remarkable.
So Ryan breaking off in the 4th frame. Decent break, potted a ball, but also added the cue ball. It was straight in. It wasn't kicked off, so that was his mistake. This is a nice layout. Look at where these reds are. Not a great deal to do at the best of times. Ball in hand means he can get after any ball that he finds a bit tricky straight away. Normally these are the kind of positions where Ronan's deadly. Being able to clear up from routine positions with 100% consistency is actually a surprisingly important skill, and one that's sometimes a bit overlooked. You just know that if you give him this kind of chance, he doesn't let it slip very often. All of these players will be playing most of their matches out on the outside table. 96 players entered this event, 16 groups of 6. We're showing selected highlights on this main arena table in the group stages. And obviously we'll see more and more on this main table as we start the knockout phase tomorrow night. And this has been steady from Ronan. It wasn't a difficult chance by any means, but you've still got to take it.
Just getting those opportunities has been difficult enough. But you always do feel that Ronan's break will just eventually give you a little bit of something.
Yeah, I think if you had to look for a weakness in his overall game, that would be the one. He seems to go through phases where he finds a break and then throws some frames together, and you're saying maybe he's cured that weakness, but it is the consistency of the break. It's not at the same level as some of the really big breakers. Well, it's quite a frightening thought. If he did have a break like that, he'd be a very hard man to beat.
Red ball's in play.
Ryan knows he needs to get something going here. He's kind of hung on in this match, but he's always looked a bit like he's playing catch-up.
This is a really tough finish, you know, Mark. This isn't nice at all. You've got the 2 reds on the left side rail. You can develop the one that's next to the red, next to the yellow rather, by the middle pocket, because you can play a red off it, but it's an ugly finish, this, and no surprise to see Ryan draw back a little. I think he's trying to bait Ronan here. I suspect Ronan won't take said bait.
Yeah, although I don't think he's played that as well as he might have done, because he's now left Ronan the chance to play either the yellow straight to the middle or maybe able to get it off the red. He didn't quite have the space. Trying to play it into the yellow that was above the left middle pocket. Well, he has accepted the bait, or maybe not deliberately so, but it looks like Ryan's plan has worked out.
Yeah, I wonder if Ronan sort of saw that a little bit as a free go. Weighed up his options.
Yeah, I mean, anything other than going in off, if he just misses the cannon altogether, for example, it's not a terrible position. He can bail
exactly.
out of it. That's the worst possible result, because now he's left Ryan in a position where he can get behind the one that was going to be hardest to land on.
That's not to say this frame's not fraught with difficulties, though. The one that he's closest to now is just a small pain, because it doesn't go to what you'd consider its natural pocket. And where does this red move away to?
always looked like the risk. I wondered if he'd be tempted to try and bump a ball at that end of the table and play it as a plant, because then he'd have been able to guarantee the pot and would have known where the ball was going. He'd have been quite lucky to leave that red in a possible position. I mean, it does go up the right rail, but it's just very disconnected now from everything else.
Well, there's a route to go, because you've got the one to the bottom right, but the shot you've got to play to make it all work is a hell of a shot, because obviously, it's on now. If you wanted it, you could.
Well, I think he's going to have to play the ball to the left middle, and then the bottom left, and then drop over to the right-hand cushion last, because his only hope really is that he plays it as the last ball and gets on the 8 ball. But he was never going to be able to get really close. He's going to be left with a horrible shot up the right rail.
Yeah, how do you like these?
Well, I will say, he's got that as high up the table as you could have hoped to from where he is. It's not a nice position, but I think the fact he's got a bit more angle actually makes the pot a little bit easier than if he was dead straight behind it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to work the cue ball as hard. This is still a big, big shot. Oh, it's a big, big pot.
Yeah, a lot of people would have been tempted just to dribble that down and hope it fell in, but he properly potted that. That was a good finish in the end from Ryan Pisani.
Yeah, much needed as well. Much needed.
We've seen a lot of really good quality clearances.
Yeah, we have.
And a few moments of tension as well at deciding frame in the Rowe Whelan match.
Oh, ridiculous. Yeah, considering that was a group stage game where they'll both probably still be A-OK to qualify. That was a mad, mad finish to that game. I believe it's been stuck up on the Ultimate Pool Facebook. If you were out at work maybe earlier on and didn't catch that, give that a watch, because, well, just don't tag John Rowe in the comments.
Yeah,
I've suffered enough.
Sort of the classic decider, wasn't it, where they both had a chance and whoever lost will end up going away pretty annoyed with it.
It's an incredible end to the match, because they both left the arena, I think, absolutely sick at how it had finished.
Yeah, I'd say Chad Whelan didn't look delighted, and he was the winner.
Yeah, he'd made some big errors in that match towards the end.
He is quite tough on himself, though. He's somebody that doesn't...
Yeah, his standards are high.
Yeah, doesn't take anything other than a really top performance. That's what you have to do sometimes. Someone that is putting up a really top performance so far is this man.
And I think as well for Ronan is related to that, his mentality is absolutely elite. You never ever see him being hard on himself. Even if he is, you would never ever know about it.
Well, he's in a lovely position, and a well-deserved one after 30 plus years of playing this game at the top level, but he's kind of done everything in the game, so it's not like he's got a ton of pressure because he's missing a title or he wants to prove himself. It's almost like he can go out there and enjoy it, just play good quality pool. He's 2 balls away now from wrapping up this victory. Ryan Pisani's played his part in this match. I don't think he'll be unhappy with the level of play. He's just come up against somebody that's been really relentless.
It's been a super performance from Ronan McCarthy. He looks really good. And, that's the world champion doing world champion things, playing at an elite level and looking very, very solid whilst doing so. Ryan Pisani played well in that match, but Ronan McCarthy took it away from him for a very, very solid result for the Northern Irishman. He marches on in his group, and we march on through the schedule tonight. Craig Waddingham up next.
We've got a very big break. The ball does eventually drop in.
Sort of cued across that one.
Yeah, compare that to the ball he managed to pot in the last frame, that was a much easier shot. Not easy, but one you would have expected him to get.
It's quite easy done. What he just cued across the cue ball then and shunted it into the knuckle. Maybe played it a little bit quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is somebody that when he misses a ball, he can sometimes look careless. He quite often looks like he's playing quite fast. But then that's also what's entertaining about him.
Well, Waddingham's no slouches either. He likes to get on with it and attack. Well judged off that knuckle. It's a yellow ball that's nearest the right-hand rail at the top there. That's the major problem for Craig.
It's not normally somebody to go after a finish without a clear plan, so he obviously feels like he can dislodge the difficult one off the penultimate ball.
Yeah, he wants a little angle here, and if he can roll this in and just slide half ball into the other yellow, so he pushes it onto the rail and the cue ball sort of unfolds behind it and leave the shot down the rail. So both yellows in the same pocket, if he can do it. Just got it a little thick. It was a tricky shot to play because you're playing it, you have to be very precise that it's sort of like 3/4 half the ball and just slide it gently. And because of the angle he had, he played it with a slight sort of bit of stun on it, and he just hit it a bit heavy. Caught it thick and hit it heavy.
Also didn't actually have a lot of space when you saw from the camera angle behind. The pot itself was quite narrow. Couldn't afford to take any risk with it. So now Conor should have the real upper hand here. Anytime you've got 7 balls on your table and your opponent's got 1, should be in a great position to take advantage of them. Well, I don't know about that. I think the priority there was not to leave a one cushion escape, and particularly a one cushion escape with some possibility of potting the ball. You'd expect Craig to go relatively close to this. Well, in fact, may be able to dig in behind it off the right cushion and pot it in the opposite middle. He's got a couple of pots he can go after. I don't think, I mean, critical, but that was quite a good enough snooker from the position he was in.
He gave that a fair go, and look when the cue ball down the table, but then if he'd hit it in the correct spot to pot it, would the cue ball gone that far down? I don't think so.
This time, not really so much for Conor to think about. He's got his balls quite nice. Obviously, safety options there if he needs it, but first and foremost he's just going to try and pot these. This is kind of what he needed, just to get his arm going. Pot a few fairly straightforward balls.
A little bit hampered, but it won't bother him. Just make sure he gets the weight right when he cuts this in.
Yeah, I think his left hand made that shot much easier. So the natural side. Well, and a match where Craig Waddingham looked like the stronger player at the beginning and could have gone further ahead. 2-all now. Conor can't be unhappy with that.
Well, that was a big belt of a break, and nothing got in the way of a ball on the side of Conor Jones there. Look at the balls moving around the table. I can't believe a ball hasn't gone in off that break.
I wouldn't say anyone's been finding the breaks super easy so far today.
Well, red's are the better colour, but it's getting the first one in the pocket. He's taking on this long red into the bottom corner. He is, and he's got it. What a shot there from Craig Waddingham. That's a brave, brave shot, but it is, or should be, a frame winner. You missed that ball and you're 5-3 down, trust me. But now just look at the reds. And this will go a long way to erasing the memory of this what can only be described as a silly red that he's missed 2 frames ago. And I'm purely just say because I think he was going that quick round the table. In his own mind, he was probably potting the black, which was coming 3 balls later when he just didn't even look at it. Gave the shot no respect, if you like. I bet he doesn't do it again in this match. But because Craig's a quick player, you know, and I've done it myself, and lots of other players that play at pace will tend to sort of look at the easy balls and think, well, I'll just get rid of that one and get on with the next shot, and it can come and bite you on the backside.
When you lose matches, you quite often think of the difficult shots you've missed, but if you're honest with yourself, it is sometimes those simple ones that have led to the problem. Chance to regroup though. There's plenty more matches to come, so wow. I'm tempted to pot that thick, but almost potted it too thick.
Yeah, that's nicely done there by Craig. Long red into the bottom corner now. Roll the cue ball through. And then goes to black, and we're back level once again. 4-4.
World Championships, that shows you how long he's been at the top of the game. Oh, cue ball looked like it might just hang on, but to Conor's despair, it's gone down.
Waddingham leapt out of his chair there when he saw that cue ball go.
To be fair, it was straight into the pocket, even though it almost caught the jaw. It wasn't a great shot when it was anywhere near there.
Conor Jones now shaking his head, wondering where it all went wrong, because that missed yellow that proved very costly in the last frame was punished to the max by Craig Waddingham. So they've had one bizarre miss each. They've potted some incredible balls between them in this match. But this is a real chance now for Craig Waddingham to get over the line. Keeps himself in pole position in the group as well. Doesn't want too much angle, that'll do. Take the long red first, down into the bottom right. Just use the yellow ball to hold the cue ball next to it, and then play red into top, red into middle, black in right corner. Now he's changed into play this. He feels he can get better position on the red. I don't know. I think it was pretty much the same. But both your balls are at the top of the table. This has to be get the weight correct, and that should do him. And this black for a 6-4 win for Craig Waddingham.
And the 6-4 win is locked up. Scoreboard doesn't really tell the full story there. If you just hear that result, you'd think that it could have been a fairly straightforward win, but as you see from Craig Waddingham's face as he goes out the arena, I think he's actually going to be pretty relieved to get over the line in that one.
It's a race to 6 in this, the group of death. The Gruppo della Muerte.
Wow.
Stephen Jameson, Tony Holgate with you. Declan Brennan at the table following a successful first jab at the pack. And he's broken these apart beautifully. You take this split every single time. Just a little bit of work to do in the middle of the table. But I think you'd be pretty happy if you came to the table with this every
Decky's
single
got a
time.
new shirt. He used to play green all the time.
Yeah, this has been in the rotation though.
Is it?
Yeah, he's had the sort of the blue and the green on a bit of a rotation. Whether he feels he's more successful in the green, I'm not sure.
I always saw him in the green. Never saw him not playing green. I thought it was just his being patriotic to Northern Ireland and keeping with the.
Maybe this was his European statement to get the blue on it. But really, really interesting group, this one. We'll show you the table in a little bit. That's a lovely shot from Deck to open things up. And we'll just have a little look to see the lay of the land, because essentially this is the group of death. There's 5 pros in it, and the non-pro is as good as, and maybe even better than, a few of those on the circuit. Scott Pope is top class, England international, well known. And when you get 6 players of that calibre all duking it out for 4 spots, there's going to be 2 victims of a little bit of heartbreak who may well have gone through in other groups, but they cannot think like that.
There's going to be 2 unhappy campers.
Oh, I should say.
This is a battle-hardened Declan Brennan. He's been through 2 6-5 victories, I believe.
He has, yeah. As I say, we'll bring up the table for you in a little bit. It's been an interesting opening day, to say the least.
Well, it's a fine start from Declan Brennan. Simple black ball to open his account here in the main arena, and down it goes.
His sort of take on his season was he's really not played too badly. He feels like he's not far away. He's just felt like he's turned up some weekends at Pro Series and feels like it's ended very, very quickly, and that's just sometimes the nature of the beast.
It can happen.
It isn't necessarily your fault when that happens, because
You're playing at the highest level.
Yeah, something like this can happen. Declan Brennan can break like God and starve you of action at the table. 2 big breaks from Decky to kick us off in this evening's
It
match.
happened to Decky earlier this year against Melling, didn't it? One of those
It did.
monster matches where Melling doesn't miss for a considerable amount of time it gets over the line. And you have a few dry breaks against somebody like that, and all of a sudden the match has passed you by inside 20 minutes.
Conor Tracy gets first chance, or second chance I should say, in this frame. That was a surprising entry into it. Didn't expect Declan to run aground from there.
Coming round to survey the situation, checking the black. It's nicely available into the centre before he deposits these 2 yellows into this corner. What
I really like about Conor at the table is talked about it earlier, talking about a few different players. I think Conor's mentality is really, really good. Does a pretty good job of keeping himself level-headed.
He went a little higher up than he probably would have liked for this black. Proved costly.
Yeah, it was tough on that. He landed, didn't he? A bit. Yeah, he's just sort of digesting it a little bit. I think that black was really, really tricky, and I think that's not where he wanted to be on it.
Well, he played that last yellow with a bit of right hand side, trying to check it to narrow the angle off that bottom rail, and because he put check on, he thought it would kill the white a little bit. So what he's done, he's played it firmer than he normally would, but it didn't kill the white. Basically threw the check side and then it spun up the table farther. If that makes any sense to you at all, J-Mo?
It did, yeah, it did. I think if he's super critical about that visit, maybe on that last yellow, maybe he lands on it on a line where he doesn't have to rely on so much check, and you can land on it straight and pretty much just pick your line really on the 8 ball.
The thing is, if he'd come 2 more inches further up, it was a very easy double.
Yeah.
And he probably would have rather had that, come to think of it. But anyway, it's Declan Brennan that's at the table now.
Yeah, and a let off for Decky here.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. Plenty of cue power there to push that down the rail and the cue ball through. Still tricky with that red on the rail there and where the black is. I mean, they want to go down and play that red. They don't want to leave that last, that's for sure. And for me, play it now. Get rid of it. You can afford to play this a bit firmer, get that cue ball away, so he's not going to, if he did jaw it, he's going to leave a tricky black.
Oh, well, that one wasn't particularly close, actually. A little surprised.
Yeah. Didn't really get the cue ball across either, so this is an easier black than you probably would have been left with if he just played it plainly and jawed it. It's in. Conor Tracy says thank you very much.
Yeah, and you sort of get a sense sometimes, don't you, with certain shots, and that was one of those where I just, with the way it arrived, fully fancied Conor Tracy for that one.
Nice use of side there from Declan. Let's get up onto that yellow at the top there, just in the gap of those 2 reds.
Yeah, Conor's extension on that one, as it was slightly awkward queuing and didn't want to be hurried.
No, exactly right.
I was wondering what you thought, Tony, about the implication today of not having a match clock in our group stage, because I think it's made for some pretty interesting matches.
Yeah.
Speaking to a couple of people in the bar in the last game, whilst you and Mark delighted the audience with your comms on the Waddingham Jones match, and yeah, certainly a topic of discussion. And I think the crucial thing for me is less so how it's been sort of individually received. It's just the fact that it's something different is what I like.
Well, the beauty of all of this is we can play so many different formats and variations. We've got the same rules, but it's nice to have something different here and there, you know. You have these golden breaks in certain tournaments and golden ducks, if you like. Adds a little bit of, I don't know, drama.
I said it's a good job you're winning your lags. He joked that it was the most important shot of the entire match. And when you're breaking like that in the decider, that is why Declan Brennan wields the boomstick. That is his best break of the night. Absolutely leathers them. But Conor Tracy can hold on to a little bit of hope. There's work to do.
Well, he has to take the reds simply because of where they're positioned.
I wonder if he's looking at the 3-ball plan for the red to the bottom left. Just depends on what ball he does that with.
Red ball's in play. It's the end of that.
Did he just say to himself, that's the end of that idea?
I think he might have done.
Didn't quite catch it, but it sounded like what he said. Not 100% sure. Don't want to put words in his mouth. That was tough. That was thin. So Conor Tracy does indeed get his chance at 5-all. No surprise to see the loss of turn played.
Loss of turn.
He doesn't want to leave the red in the middle of the table though, and I fear he has.
He's left some stuck out, that's for sure. That one next to the black.
Can Declan Brennan potentially play a 3-ball plant now? Would be very aggressive.
I don't think you can see that part of it. I think you can cut it in the middle. I don't think you can see enough to go and play that plant down there. I don't think he would anyway. I think it's too much of a risk at this stage of this frame.
Pretty good area to leave. Only shot that Conor Tracy has is a plant. Look for a cheeky little loss of turn there. Again, could Declan Brennan be tempted? I don't think so. He's having a good look at that line of the red to the 8-ball and the yellow and red at the bottom of the table. Oh, you can see what he tried to do. That was a really good effort. He did not miss the red and the yellow by much. And now he knows he's in a little bit of bother. It's heading towards Hail Mary time.
He's going to come down and just nudge the red away from the yellow and try and leave. Conor stuck to the yellow at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, pretty nice shot. Race to 6 this. This is the Hill decider. Both players have now wielded their extensions. Has he left the edge? I don't think so. There's 2 edges he might have left. The one to the middle and the one to the bottom left. I don't think he's left either. Enough of it to pot it anyway. Or has he? Has he?
Well, he had.
Oh, he definitely had. Because Declan Brennan caught it thick.
Yeah.
And it was thin he needed.
think he swung a bit aside on it.
Again, Conor Tracy not really having much to go at when he comes to the table. That's been his issue.
Snooker up here. No, he's not.
Had to get that right. Had to get that right. Wobbled in. And it's really important that it did as well.
I think he's left it. He has left the plant.
I mean, this is high tariff though.
Has to go for it. If he can get anywhere near that, you have to go. Just getting the other red to come back in line as well. That's a tougher bit. Is he on it? No.
Oh, he might be.
It's tight.
I think he is.
I'm not sure. The hand on hip tells me he's not, just by his mannerism there, the way he stood at the table. I don't think he is. I think he just needed another inch.
Oh, there's only
Can
one
play
way
all
to
three
find
cushions
out.
in the middle. He went for the middle bag then. He's played it too narrow. Tried the old cock tat.
Declan Brennan's run of deciding frame victories looks like it may well come to an end. This is now Conor Tracy's frame to lose. Dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
I think I'd play the yellow at the bottom first. Yeah, I prefer this shot. Screw back. Yeah, I'll be happy with that, that's for sure. And that's going to do for Conor Tracy. And an impressive match.
Conor Tracy goes 3 from 3 in the group of death. Wins a decider against Declan Brennan. Puffs out his cheeks. And he is headed through to the last 64 of the European Open. Great job from Conor. Declan very much still in the box seat in Group 3. He's 2-1 heading into day 2. As Ross Dunn has done very, very well to make it this far.
Yeah, sort of have the feel like he's been chasing this clearance for a few shots, but the balls keep going in. I've actually got a bad angle here because he cut this ball up to the corner. The white's naturally coming down the table, which is what he needs because he's going to have to come around the back of it to get position.
As he misses that yellow. Mark, I've just received a message. Would you like to know how Ross Dunn came to have funny on the back of his shirt? This is a belter. Ross Dunn's nickname is a mistake. It was meant to be Dunny, but he didn't realise it. He'd spell check to funny until he received the shirt. Which is just spectacular, really. And I can only imagine the amount of stick that he had to take when he unveiled that for the first time. That's brilliant. Shout out to Jonathan Coleman, a member of that Wales team I was mentioning a few moments ago, who's enlightened me with that story.
Fair play to him for committing to it as well. I think other people might have had the shirt corrected and made again, but he's just carried on.
Well, fair play to him. Yeah, he's owned it. It's the sort of thing that if you're at the right age at the right moment, that sort of thing can follow you around for a long, long time. That. I've got a friend who I was at a wedding recently, surname of Windmill. When he was a teenager, his friends used to call him Dean Windass, because that's how teenage brains work. And anyway, he's just known as Dean now. That's always friends from home call him. His first name's Ryan. Was at his wedding, and he's getting chants of Dino. Just how silly the human and indeed the male mind can be sometimes.
Must be about 50-50 with the nicknames here. Some are like really well thought through, where people have been told they need a nickname and they've sought advice, they've tested out some alternatives, and others it's some random moment of their life and the nickname is just stuck.
Anyway, Ross Fun is not having much fun here against Scott Gillespie.
No, he was having a lot of fun when he started out that clearance, but just came up short on the final ball.
That's a lovely shot, that, from Goobs. Judge that to perfection.
Been threatening to play well for a while, Scott Gillespie. He's been going through a slightly lean patch towards the end of last season. Getting a bit frustrated, I think, with a few things. But looking much better already this season. Runner up to Tom Cousins at the British Open a few months back.
And that was as good as we've seen Scott Gillespie in an ultimate pool form.
Been incredibly consistent. His ranking over the last 4 seasons of Ultimate Pool, 13, 19, 19, 14. Just always been there or thereabouts, just inside or just outside the top 16. Suddenly this first frame's become quite important because Ross had a good chance, turned it over, and actually Scott's pulled out a really good clearance.
Man, it's had the air of the sort of confident clearance you get when you know you're playing well. You've got something to play for, and that little bit of pressure's off.
So 3-0 down. Ross really wants to get something out of this frame.
Cracking break. Oh, these reds are nice.
Yeah, this is what he wants, isn't it? Just a nice, simple run out. Not too much to think about. Colour's pretty good, but red's surely the choice.
Well, the only reason you're not forced, but you choose to go reds is just that yellow on the right side rail. It's a problem you don't need to have. Just reminded of the story of his nickname there, don't mind me.
Every time he turns around, you're going to be off again.
It's just so good. It's so good, that.
how many nicknames do start as mistakes? I don't think it's as uncommon as it seems.
No, I don't think
People
so.
mishear things. Taking these nicely. These were well situated, but got to stay in position. These ones at the bottom of the table, if you're in the right position, are going to be really easy because you can play one after another. These two balls bottom left, but yeah, I understand why he went after it, because I think you could slip out of position, but he didn't ultimately play that with a great deal of confidence. He probably knew deep down he should take the ball at the top of the table. The sort of basic premise you're always taught is to take the balls in zones, don't leave an orphaned ball at one end of the table. So now I've got to play a longer pot. Back in prime position again now.
Yeah, cued that one beautifully.
Now he will be happy that he's taken the one bottom left, because it's much easier only having one there. He can just play that and play for position on the 8 ball. Alternating good shot, bad shot in the last couple. This is all right, but he's going to get the cue ball back over the same side of the table it is now. So
Yeah, it just didn't need to be this awkward, did it? But he's okay. Ooh. Yeah. Again, didn't need to be that awkward, but he's all right. This is missable though. Out of the pocket. Well, by hook or by crook, Ross Funny Dunn gets out against Scott Gillespie.
this has all come from that very loose containing shot that Scott played.
Well, are we going to another Hill decider on this table, Mark? Oh, well. I'd like to retract my question, Your Honour.
No, not yet, sir. Keep the question in your head. He's going to be disappointed with that. That was a good spot. It's just got a bit tentative with that last one.
Big shot, this. Oh, it's a great effort. He's actually a little unlucky. Couldn't have played that much better.
That was almost perfect. Almost perfect. It's no good though, because all the reds are now open.
Yeah, there was no room there to be almost perfect.
Oh, what fine margins this game is. Look at his face, tells you everything. So frustrating sitting down watching your opponent clear up when you could have sneaked the frame. I think if it had gone to a decider, Scott would maybe have felt a little bit aggrieved. He probably has just been the class of the two players. But Ross Dunn has certainly played his part.
Yeah, not been too far back, which, considering for certainly the first half of this match, Scott played brilliantly. It's pretty good going, really, for Ross Dunn, I would suggest.
Not looking quite as fluent as he did at the beginning. Earlier on, Scott just seemed to naturally see every shot. He's doing the right thing here, of course. This is an important frame. Just taking a little bit longer to settle himself. The way these balls are, it's absolutely his to lose, and he knows that. He wins this frame bar any mistakes. Ross Dunn has got one match left after this, which is going to be against Carl Morris tomorrow. out of contention, because he could end up finishing with the same point score as Carl. Looking at the league table though, he's got quite a frame difference deficit. Going to need some of the results to go his way, you'd feel. He's got Gillespie 3 balls away now from guaranteeing his place at the top of the Group 6 table. It would have been 5-2 or 5-3 up. He'd have cleared these balls up long ago. Just the fact that we would be going to a decider. He's been far more measured in his pace around the table.
Yeah, super stuff from Scott Gillespie. Has played some good stuff in this game. And he continues his unbeaten run in this European Open. Scott Gillespie looking very, very good indeed. He is 4 from 4 on day 1 of the European Open, and he will top the group heading into the last 64.
First look at Fraser Allen. Fairly solid break, but quite connecting.
You don't want too many dry breaks against Shaun Chipperfield. This probably is, I think, the fastest cueist in the game. It's sort of like 1 or 2 sight-ups and he just hits.
Yeah, in terms of time spent down the shot, he's definitely the quickest. There are others that play quickly, but that's often because they see the shots quickly. He just seems to have this skill where he just doesn't have to line up. He just gets down and hits the ball. It's remarkable that he's as accurate a potter as he is. Normally, all the theory books tell you you've got to spend a bit of time down on the shot to get the line properly. This is the kind of format of game Shaun's going to enjoy. Not quite the same pressure when we're not in the knockout. He can just play his fast, fluent stuff. This is exactly what you always want in the first frame of a match. Just a nice open layout to go after. Fraser's going to know exactly what he's in for here. He's also going to know that it can happen very quickly. Just have to put that out of your mind.
Well, it's not as though he's never heard of Chippy, I'm sure.
Extension call.
It's probably the first time he's been up close and personal playing him. Certainly on a big stage like this. It's just landed a little bit straight there, is Shaun. I think he's got that little position where if he screws back, he can screw straight back into the middle, so having to top it through. Doesn't look too pleased with it. Oh, great cut there from Shaun. Use the yellows to hold the cue ball. He's dug himself back out the hole there, Chipperfield.
Well, good finish in the end. Gets off to a 1-0 start in a match that he actually needs to win.
Immediately you cast your eye to the reds. These are all there. This is red just above the black that looks a bit sticky, but There's also another red nearby where you could either move the black or go into that red as well. Just move it. All the other 3 reds are all available to pockets.
Yeah, it's in a nice spot, isn't it? It's for a gentle cannon off this ball.
That's not what he wanted. He's had a double bump into that and now he's tied them both up.
Yeah, that's gone all wrong. He's trying to go past the 8 ball. Now he's in a much more difficult spot because he hasn't got the benefit of that ball to go into them.
No, he's looking at doubles now with that red that's next to the black. That's the only thing he will be able to do with it, I think. There's nowhere he's going to be able to play to move it.
Not even great on his next ball. Middle yellow, just a good target, guaranteed where he's going to leave the cue ball.
Could he, if he has an angle, he could maybe top through this red, the cue ball past the yellow and into the red and the black. I'm not sure if he can. They might have the angle there now. And he did.
That's better, and that sorts the 2 reds out. So we'll have an easy 8 ball. He'll either just have to leave it there for the double or drop it along down the rail. So it's pretty good. I think it's just about straight enough that he can hold. Well, he's not made much of a job of that shot.
No, he sort of dug down on the cue ball there. Well, it will cut into the middle, but it's pretty thin. The cue ball's going to be clattering into the yellow just above it as well. It's made the pot. Where's this yellow going? Ooh. Now can he get the double back into the middle?
Yeah, I think at first glance this is just about okay. Didn't really know where the white was going, but actually you can see enough to back double it. It's got quite a natural angle.
Well, a little wave of apology there because he landed on that black, spot on for the double. It's quite a sorry state out there with this match.
I mean, it's a prime time Friday night. They're out in the main match arena. They could both do with a little bit more positivity, maybe. I haven't even here. He's spotted a ball off the break and looks disappointed. I think we need a mind coach for both of these two.
Other than that, a really good comedian. Where's Stephen Jameson gone?
I think the remedy, first and foremost, is going to be a nice clearance here from Shaun. This might get him in the mood again. Look at the way he's going about these. Sort of natural stopper for him.
Well, he'll just stop the white dead here and play the black down in the bottom corner. All right, he'll play off the rail and come back and still play the same shot.
Well, isn't exactly where he would have been had he stopped the white dead. Well, better from Shaun.
Yeah, there goes that frame.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, we like that split. Just the cue ball has fallen into an awkward spot. If he wants the reds, he's going to have to take yellows, I feel, just simply because of where the cue ball landed.
This match could be over pretty quickly from here.
To be fair, the yellows are actually the better ball anyway.
Well, his tail's at the top of the table. Coming alongside of that red, so he's going to have to come down. That's all right though.
Notice he just stopped himself there, just to double check now, because he knows this is for the match and it's very important for Shaun. It's a much needed win if he can get over the line, but it will be disappointment possibly for Fraser Allen. It's looked pretty good out there, just a couple of positional shots here and there, and it has been the difference really. Both players were dry breaking at the start of the match as well, so then this would just be relief for Chippy. And this black for a 6-4 victory for Chipperfield, and in it goes.
Decent performance in the end from Chippy, and actually not a bad performance from Fraser Allen, but both players seem to be struggling to enjoy themselves out in the arena. Allen's in quite good shape for qualification because he's on 2 from 3. He's got Adam Toms next, who's having a toughish weekend of it, yet to win a match. And then he'd have Fraser Allen last.
Dry break from Clayton Castaldi, 2023 world champion. So,
bit of a surprise winner of that World Championships, but justified the win with some pretty good performances in the months since then. Tom Jones is a player that plays with a lot of freedom, likes to go for all of his shots, can look pretty spectacular when he's on it.
yeah, I think I commentated on him earlier this year, and he's pretty impressive potting, I will say that.
Can at times look a little bit ragged, but it's one of those ones where when he's playing well he looks great, and when he's off his game you sort of feel his B game maybe isn't quite good enough to win at this level. Kind of a popular player to watch because it's always very entertaining. Good match for the last match tonight. You feel like this is going to be maybe a bit quicker than some of the ones we've seen earlier on. Got full value out of all the matches we've had today. We've had so many that have gone to deciders or to almost to deciders. Maximum amount of pool played in these 12 matches we've had on this main arena table. Just looking to bump into that yellow near the middle. He's got himself in a little bit of trouble now. Should still be okay though, because that ball in the middle of the table does pot long to either corner.
Well, whatever he does, he has to leave the yellow that's down in the bottom right-hand corner till last. So, he wants to pop this in. Just go around the back there. Left himself a tough shot now.
Yeah, that was an unusual shot, wasn't it? It's loaded up with kind of the opposite side from what you were expecting when it hit the cushion.
Yeah, he tried to come around the back, and he thought it might spring probably a bit further and give himself a straighter shot, but this is tough.
Not far off, but just a bit wide.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't easy.
There's 2 reds on the right hand side Clayton's looking at now. Not far off being a plant. I don't know if they'd, it looks like they might just flick into that yellow. I don't know if they could be made to flick in just a tiniest of touch on the yellow to go in, or whether you get too thick a contact. So go on for the safety option. Can't entirely blame Clayton, because if those reds aren't an easy plant, it wasn't going to be an easy out from where he was. So Tom's going for 2 or maybe 3 cushions onto the top of these reds, top of these yellows. That's not going to work though. Got to hit a cushion after contact. Not easy, even with ball in hand, to find a path here for Clayton. I feel like there's maybe a position he just has to tidy up the table a bit and play another safety. immediately see how he's going to be going for a clearance here. So he goes for the loss of turn. It's a pretty well thought through shot. Happy to leave Tom a shot at the yellow, knowing that it's not really going to pot anywhere. He's just looking, can he hit this on the right hand side and play off the red and double it across the table? Big ask. And now, much better chance for Clayton. Some assurance with that yellow there. He can go for the clearance, and even if he was to miss, he's not really going to leave a shot at the yellow. This ball does go past the yellow, just needs to screw it off the cushion, get the white back into play. Thought maybe try to do a bit more with the white. Ideally, he'd like to get it a bit higher up the table. A plant here. Can play the plant as a shot to nothing if he's not certain of it. Swing the cue ball around a couple of cushions and play the ball at the top of the table.
Just had a glimpse of Dylan Leary and Dave McNamara there.
Dave McNamara, good friends with Tom Jones. Tom plays out of Teja's club. About these in a steady-ish fashion. It's not been a confidence-inspiring clearance somehow. Like, there's been a few moments you just worry about him slipping out of position. Looks like he has just done enough to get the job done, though. That one just not quite playing the perfect position. Can play this with an element of safety. I mean, that's not going to be his primary concern. He's just going to go for the pot, but shouldn't really leave the yellow even if he was to hang the 8-ball. No problem at all in the end with the pot. How's this for a break?
Well, that's a thunderous break.
He spotted 4 reds and 2 yellows.
And it's not a nice split.
That's an extraordinary break.
6 balls. But you're not going to be looking at taking reds, that's for sure. But obviously with the yellow at the bottom of the table stuck behind the red ball, there's a bit of work to be done.
So often the way, isn't it, when you put too many balls off the break, it's not the perfect layout. Oh, that's a great effort. I don't think he's quite hit it far enough though.
No, but what he has done, he's now opened up the reds for Tom. Okay, you've got to be you've got to be on the one at the top to get down with those two at the bottom, but it does give Tom Jones a glimmer in this frame, that's for sure.
Clayton's got to do is leave himself an angle on the ball to the middle to come back down the table and have another go at that yellow. That's not bad, he's got a decent angle. I don't think this is really a cannon you can play completely precisely. I think you just need to get a firmish contact.
This is low percentage. Well, he's got it out but snooking himself, so good news, bad news for Clayton. But looking like a bit of good news for Tom Jones. Unless Castaldi can find a pocket for this yellow out of this snooker.
If he plays it off one cushion at a kind of medium pace and tries to catch it quite full, if he left the cue ball anywhere near where the yellow is, he's at least not leaving Tom anything too easy to get started with. That was the problem. If he skimmed off the side of it, the cue ball was always going to drift. Well, it's a foul as well, but it's always going to drift towards one of the reds.
Well, grateful Tom Jones picks up the cue ball now, leaves himself the angle on his ball at the top, anywhere down on that bottom rail, and he's laughing. As long as he doesn't stick to that red there.
It's not to the left of the other red.
No, he's fine there.
He could hardly get to the table quickly enough, could he? He couldn't believe his luck.
There's simple black for 3-2. And Jones is back in the match.
Clayton had the biggest break imaginable there, but couldn't quite chase down the finish afterwards. To get plenty of pace into that, but it's not the best of splits. Frames where no one really wants to go for the first chance.
Red ball's in play.
Good angle here. Just plays into the yellow and the two reds together, just spring the reds out. May have left a ball to the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. The red next to the black.
Access to the ball at the top of the table, which is a little bit covered by those two yellows.
Yeah, it's just having a look there if you can see if you can land in that gap between the yellows and get to the red into that corner. You certainly can get there from that position.
Yeah, that's close to perfect. It's also important not to end up too thin on it, because he's going to find a way of dragging the cue ball back down the table. Pretty good as well. Definitely come alive in the last few frames. Eight ball safely down, and what started out as a best of 13 now reduced to a best of 11, I should say, now reduced to a best of 3. So, as he's done so many times before in this match, Tom Jones slips behind and steps up to the table trying to level up. Not the start he wanted though. Cue ball finds the corner pocket via a pretty circuitous route. Pinged around the table. So is this the chance that Clayton needs? Well, it's definitely the chance he needs. Can he take the chance, I suppose, is the question. Does he need to move that red? It's a slightly over elaborate way of playing that shot. Felt like he might have struggled to get good position. He also got the ball to the centre, but he's now got the one on the baulk cushion that he's going to have to come back for. Wanted to be just a bit straighter. May still be okay, but he's going to have to load up with side if he wants to get position on the ball at the top.
Yeah, and he has to take that next after this ball.
In fact, he had enough space. Thought he was going to have to try and go the other side, but
Now he's on it.
yeah, this is okay actually.
He's looking at a black into the corner. He had a look earlier to see if that goes past already. It looks very tight to me.
For the 3 yellows, it's just whether that black does have a clear route to the pocket. Let's come round for another look. Not generally a great sign if you have to have too many looks at it.
He's convinced himself.
I mean, if it's tight, you could just leave an angle on the last ball to the corner pocket, the lowest of these 2 yellows, and play around the back of it for maybe a shot in the middle.
We're back looking at the black.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem much point looking at it now, does it? Having committed to playing the balls
exactly
in that order.
No, you're right, Mark. It's too late to change your mind.
Well, we'll find out in a moment. I think it does go.
Can you get down and have another look? Yep.
Oh, it flies in when you look at it from that angle, doesn't it?
Okay, but look number 7.
I mean, surely that looks like there's plenty of space. Well, there was plenty of space in the end. A strange end to the match. Tom Jones did well to get himself back into the match because it was one that Clayton Castaldi looked like he could run away with at the beginning. It is ultimately the man from Malta that gets over the line though and secures his position at the top of the group.